Well, I've done it again. I've just grabbed yet another alto saxophone. The alto in question is this little Yanagisawa. See if you can see the name there. You might be able to just see it right there at the front here. We'll have a look at it soon enough. I bought from a friend of mine. It was what you call an impulse buy. One of the spur of the moment things that I tend to do. You know, when you see something and you don't really need it, but you get it anyway. Well, a friend of mine messaged me. He was asking me if I know anybody who was interested in a Yanagisawa alto saxophone. And, well, here it is. So the answer is yes, me. I ended up buying it. Do I need it? No. Did I want it? Yes. And that's where we are. Moving on from my admission of greediness over shininess, let's have a look around the alto. So this is a 1980s Yanagisawa. Now the Yanagisawa models of that era were quite vague at best. Was it the A50? Was it the A5, the A6, A4, A3, A500, and the list goes on, because most of them didn't have model names on. Now some did. They had 5 or a 6, and sometimes that was all they had on. But this one in particular I know is the A500, and let's have a look around. So this model has the high F sharp key right there. You've also got this C and E flat key at the bottom, which remind me a little bit of the Mark 6s. It feels very comfortable. That thumb rest there, I don't have any preference either way between metal or plastic. Now looking at the pinky cluster there, that's also slightly different to what you might see nowadays. A lot of them have this rocker between the low B flat and the C sharp key. This one is more like the Yamaha 62 purple logo era, the 1980s model. So it's this, what I call open pinky cluster. What I always tend to find with the Japanese horns is that they are so comfortable under the fingers. Maybe it's just me, but I know many players who would say exactly the same as me. They do feel very ergonomically sound. The palm keys in particular feel very nice. Now, there's my little mate, the octave key. Look at it. It's going absolutely manic there. It's just wiggling like crazy, because that's what it does. If you look at the neck, that's also got a red Yanagisawa logo on it. Now look at the size of that body to bell brace, that ring there. It reminds me of some girls when I was at school who used to have these huge earrings. That's what it looks like to me. And it also looks like a bigger version of the Mark 6 body to bell brace. I like the layout of these horns. And it's just in very, very good shape for a horn which is like 40 years old. Wow. I can remember when these things came out. Time is just absolutely flying by. But that's it. Nature, time, it goes fast. So let's quickly move on, and I'll speak to you lot after I've done a demo of this. So what do you think about this alto? Because I'll share my final thoughts, but it'd be very nice if you could write some comments in the section below. I'd love to hear your views. Here's my take on it. As far as the more technical things like the build quality and the materials, I have zero complaints about that. It feels very nice under the fingers and the build is very solid. I mean, up to now, look at this, it's lasted over 40 years. So yeah, you can't really complain about the build quality. The materials are very good, but that's pretty consistent with Japanese horns. So that ticks a box there. Now when it comes to the sound and the feel of the instrument, that guilty pleasure of mine, just rolling the fingers under there, it is so nice. It feels smooth and it doesn't feel quirky or out of place. Everything just feels like it's right there for you. There's nothing to stretch for. And the sound of it, oh yes. I like the tone, the tuning, everything is good about this. Now I'm using my Dukoff, it's a Miami M8, and it's a very nice, powerful mouthpiece. It has some sweetness and some edge to it, but I thought it came alive on this. It's got a lot of projection, and the tone quality has a nice core. And yes, I'm using a brighter mouthpiece, but it still has a nice sound on this setup. I like it a lot. These altos and their tenor siblings are what I class as good value for money. You get a lot of saxophone for what you pay for. Also, the Yanagisawas of this era, I would say they're more like a bridge connecting the older style horns to the more modern era now. It's a nice mix between the two, and it's certainly got a great place in the saxophone world. Now, I've come across a whole bunch of these altos and tenors in school bands. They have them kind of sitting in a cupboard for 20 years because they've bought brand new shiny Yamahas or whatever, and these sort of things just get put to one side, needing repair, needing overhaul. So if you go around the school bands, you might pick up a little bargain because they tend to want to move them on. I think they should actually overhaul them. So maybe you're looking for a Yanagisawa but you can't afford one of the new modern shiny ones. Well, check out one of these little fellas. These are a very good introduction to the Yanagisawa range, and they are certainly a lot of alto for what you pay for. Well, that's what I think anyway, and that's just my views on this nice little fella. Thank you very much for checking out my video, and if you're new to my channel, do me a favor, click on subscribe, click on like, you know, all that good stuff, and you're going to get loads more videos from me. And to my regulars, hello again, and I'll see you, sorry, I won't see you, you'll see me in the next video. Have an absolutely brilliant day.